The Sabre de Casa restaurant was a small oasis in the middle of a bustling city, located on a quiet street. Away from the noise of the big commercial avenues, the place seemed to have been forgotten by time. The exposed brick walls, simple wooden tables, and the welcoming aroma of homemade food made anyone who passed by feel drawn to it. The menu wasn't luxurious, but it offered a delightful combination of homemade dishes like feijão tropeiro, a traditional Brazilian dish, rice with chicken, and the famous pudim de leite condensado, caramelized flan, that made customers keep coming back. However, what truly attracted people was the presence of Mariana, the waitress who transformed that place into a cozy refuge. She had worked there for 4 years, ever since she moved to the city in search of a fresh start. Her smile was contagious, and her simple yet attentive manner made every customer feel special, as if they were old friends. Mariana had a difficult past. She came from a small town in the countryside, where life was not easy. Her mother, a hard-working woman, had always taught her the importance of helping others, being kind and generous. Since she was young, Mariana had embraced this creed, and it guided her in everything she did. She never had grand ambitions. Her dream was simply to have a peaceful place to live, surrounded by good people. The Sabre de Casa seemed to be the perfect place. Her boss, Jose, the restaurant owner, was an elderly man who had founded the establishment and took great care in running it, despite financial struggles. Although the restaurant was far from being an empire, Jose was proud of serving good food and seeing people leave with a smile on their faces. Mariana loved the restaurant as if it were her second home. She took care of every detail, from cleaning the tables to greeting every customer. Everyone in the neighborhood knew that when they entered, they would find quality service and a warm environment. Mariana didn't just serve food, she served care, attention, and a genuine smile. On that afternoon, the restaurant was a bit busier than usual. It was Thursday, and the weather was pleasant. Most of the customers were locals, workers and families seeking a refuge from their hectic routines. Mariana walked from table to table, exchanging friendly words, while Jose stood behind the counter, always keeping an eye on the kitchen. It was then that he walked in. The man was tall, with impeccable posture, and wearing designer clothes that seemed out of place in the simple environment. His leather shoes gleamed under the soft light of the restaurant, and the way he surveyed the surroundings seemed to calculate everything around him. When he entered, the door made a small bell sound, and all eyes turned toward him. Some customers recognized him, but no one dared interrupt his entrance. As always, Mariana didn't let herself be distracted. She approached the table with a genuine smile, trying to maintain the welcoming atmosphere of the place despite his out-of-place presence. "Good afternoon, sir. How can I help you?" Mariana asked kindly. The man looked at her for a moment, as if assessing the situation. His gaze softened, and he nodded slowly. "I'd like a table for one. Something simple, nothing fancy. Just a good meal," he replied, in a deep voice, straightforwardly. Mariana led him to a table by the window, where he could watch the quiet movement outside. She took his order, and as she walked away, noticed that he seemed more uncomfortable than arrogant. Perhaps the power of his presence was just a facade. Mariana, not knowing who he really was, continued her routine with her usual cordiality. While he chose a simple dish, like steak with rice and salad, Mariana noticed something curious. He didn't seem interested in eating quickly or leaving soon. He was just there, as if waiting for something or someone. Curious, Mariana tried not to stare, but a strange sensation began to take over her. After all, he was so different from the other customers, and that difference made her wonder who he really was. The restaurant's tranquility was broken by a sudden sound, the muffled cry of a child. Mariana, always attentive, quickly turned around and saw a little girl, no older than 7, entering the restaurant with teary eyes and bare feet, as if she had been running for a long time. She looked around, scared, not knowing what to do. Before anyone else could react, Mariana approached the child with her usual gentleness. She knelt in front of her, smiling to calm her down. "Hi, sweetie, what happened?" Mariana asked softly, trying to reassure the little one. The child, sobbing, explained with difficulty. I got lost from my mom. She was at the store, and I ran, and I can't find her." Mariana knew what she had to do. Quickly she grabbed her phone and, without hesitation called the nearby mall, reporting the lost child. While waiting for a response, she took the child to the restaurant's waiting area, offering her a glass of juice and a piece of bread. The billionaire, who had been observing the scene with some distance, felt something he had never imagined feeling. He, who had always been a ruthless businessman and never got distracted by personal matters, felt his heart tighten as he watched Mariana helping the little girl. He was used to dealing with people who always treated him with interest in what he had. But here, in that moment, he saw something more. He saw someone with a genuine commitment to others, without expecting anything in return. Minutes passed slowly. Finally, the child's mother appeared, running with swollen eyes from crying. When she saw her daughter sitting with Mariana, the relief was immediate. She ran to her daughter and hugged her tightly, thanking Mariana through her tears. The waitress smiled, knowing that, at that moment, she had done the right thing. The billionaire watched from a distance. He felt something strange, as if it had touched a part of him that had been dormant for a long time. He had always believed that money and power were the only means of earning respect in the world. But what he had just witnessed made him question this view. The simple gesture of Mariana, putting the child first without hesitation, without looking at the financial side of the situation, was something he couldn't ignore. When the child's mother finally left, thanking her repeatedly, Mariana returned to her section and began serving other tables. But the man was lost in thought. He knew he wanted to repay that act of kindness, and then, an idea occurred to him. An idea that would change the lives of everyone at Sabre de Casa forever. He stood up, asked for the bill, and approached Mariana, who was talking to Seyuze at the counter. "I would like to buy the restaurant," he said, simply and directly. Mariana looked at him, confused. She had never imagined something like this could happen. Seyuze, equally surprised, looked at the billionaire with distrust. "Buy it. This restaurant is our life. We can't," began Seyuze, but the billionaire gently interrupted him. "I don't want to take this from you. I want to do something more. I want to ensure that this place stays special, but with the possibility of growing, reaching more people. And of course I want you to stay here, Mariana, because what you did today, it's priceless." Mariana looked at him, unsure of what to say. She wasn't looking for fame, wealth, or recognition. She just wanted to help people. But the billionaire was determined. He knew that by investing in Sabre de Casa, he was acquiring something far more valuable than any financial asset, the true soul of the place. News of the restaurant's purchase spread quickly through the city, but instead of causing a stir, what happened was a celebration. The restaurant became known not only for the quality of its food, but also for its positive impact on the community. The billionaire, who had once been just a figure of power and influence, found a new purpose. He used his fortune to improve the facilities, expand the menu, and even create a support program for children and families in vulnerable situations. But above all, he preserved the original spirit of Sabre de Casa, which Mariana and Seyuze had cultivated with such care. And from time to time he would look at Mariana with gratitude. She didn't know it, but she had changed his life. She, who believed that small gestures could make a difference, was now the true soul of the restaurant. And so, Sabre de Casa was no longer just a restaurant. It became a place where people could truly feel the taste of humanity. With the purchase of the restaurant, a series of changes took place. The billionaire, now the new owner of Sabre de Casa, began investing in renovations, expanding the space, modernizing the kitchen, and hiring new staff. However, he knew that in order to maintain the essence of the place, something crucial couldn't be changed. The heart of the restaurant lay in Mariana and Seyuze, the two people who had lovingly created its soul. The billionaire, named Hugo, initiated a series of meetings with Mariana to discuss how to expand the restaurant without losing what made it unique. Hugo was a pragmatic and meticulous man, but something about Mariana's kindness made him question his own priorities. She wasn't interested in increasing profits or new marketing projects. For her, the true value lay in the experience people had when they walked into the restaurant, in the care she put into each dish served, and in the smile with which she greeted every customer. "I understand you want to grow, but we need to preserve what's always been special here," Mariana said as she discussed with Hugo. People come here because they know we treat them like family. They don't want a fancy place, they want something simple that makes them feel welcome. Hugo, although accustomed to making quick and impactful decisions, felt there was truth in Mariana's words. He began to realize that it wasn't about growing uncontrollably, but about building a legacy that was sustainable and human. He proposed a compromise. The restaurant should expand but maintain its essence. Suze would remain in charge of the kitchen, and Mariana would continue as the main waitress, with the responsibility of maintaining the warm and genuine environment. Little by little, changes began to take place, and the restaurant gained new life. New recipes were added to the menu, and the decor received a more modern touch without losing the simple charm it had. Mariana continued her work with the same dedication as always, and soon customers began to notice that despite the updates, Saber de Queso was still the same place where they felt at home. Over time, the restaurant became even more popular. Word of mouth spread, and it didn't take long before people from other cities began visiting Saber de Queso. Hugo, with his business vision, was pleased with the growth, but he also felt growing pressure. Expansion meant more challenges, more employees to manage, and more expectations for success. He knew he needed to ensure the restaurant was not only profitable, but that it also maintained the quality and hospitality that he and Mariana valued so much. On the other hand, Mariana began to feel the pressure of her responsibility. Although she loved what she did, she couldn't ignore the changes around her. Demand was growing, and with it, the workload was also increasing. What had once been a small neighborhood restaurant had become a reference in the city, and with that came new expectations, not only from Hugo, but from the customers themselves. There were days when Mariana felt she was straying from her own essence. She began to question whether things were truly getting better, or if she was just being swept along by the frenetic pace of growth. Nights became long, and conversations with Hugo, although always respectful, became more frequent and intense. The billionaire wanted the restaurant to go further, to become even more popular, while Mariana wondered if that was really necessary. "Do you remember how this all started, Mariana?" Hugo asked in one of their meetings. "We both agreed that the success of this place wasn't just about the food, but the human experience it provided. We need to do more, expand to other cities, maybe create a chain of restaurants." Mariana looked at him, her eyes filled with uncertainty. "And what happened to the reason we started this, Hugo? What happened to the people? I don't want Saber de Queso to lose its way. I don't want it to become just another restaurant. I want it to be a refuge, a place where people still feel that same connection." Hugo looked at Mariana, realizing the anguish in her eyes. He knew she was right. He had been so focused on success that perhaps he had lost sight of what truly mattered. Pressure and tensions began to affect not just Mariana, but everyone around her. Suze, who had always been the tireless cook, also felt the weight of responsibility. The restaurant was becoming more sought after, and he feared his ability to maintain the quality standard would be compromised. He knew the business needed more labor, but he also wanted to preserve the quality he had built over the years. It was during a particularly hectic night, when the restaurant was packed, that tensions reached their peak. A fight broke out among the staff, due to the stress of the changes, and Mariana felt that she was no longer in control. She retreated to the restaurant's office, her face pale, and her eyes filled with frustration. Hugo, who had heard about the commotion, approached her. He didn't just want to resolve the financial or operational issues. He wanted to understand what was happening with the woman who had turned his restaurant into something so special. "Mariana, we need to talk," Hugo said gently. "I realize things are tough for you right now, but I want you to know that this place was made by you and for you. I don't want to lose what Saber de Queso represents. Can we find a way to grow without losing our essence?" Mariana looked at him, almost speechless. She took a deep breath, trying to organize her thoughts. I just want the people who come here to know that what they're receiving is more than food. They should feel part of something bigger, something real. I can't do this alone, Hugo. I need more support. We need more time for the people. Less hurry, less pressure. Hugo reflected on her words. He realized that his vision of success had been wrong. True success wasn't about unchecked growth or finances. Success lay in maintaining what truly mattered: human connection, the sense of belonging, and the care for every customer. After that night of reflection, Hugo made an important decision. He called Mariana and Suze for a meeting and explained his new plan for the restaurant. They would focus on what truly mattered. Saber de Casa would keep its original structure, but now it would have a support team that would allow Mariana to focus more on what she did best, creating a welcoming experience for customers. The restaurant would continue to grow, but in a more organic way, respecting the limits of its identity. The idea was simple: expand carefully. Instead of opening multiple branches quickly, they would focus on creating a single model location that could serve as inspiration for other communities. The restaurant wouldn't be a chain but a symbol that human quality and genuine hospitality could coexist with business success. Mariana, her eyes shining with emotion, accepted the new challenge. She knew she had found a balance between her passions and the business needs. Hugo, who had already learned so much from her, promised to stand by her side, but never again pressure her to do something that went against the values they held in their hearts. Saber de Casa flourished once again, but this time sustainably. The restaurant became a symbol of kindness, hospitality, and quality. The billionaire who had once believed that the greatest wealth lay in the number of zeros at the end of his bank statement, now knew that true value lay in human relationships, and the impact his business could have on people's lives. And Mariana, with her generous heart and determination, continued to be the soul of the restaurant. She no longer doubted that what she did was the right thing. She knew she had found something more precious than any profit or fame. She had found the true meaning of her work. And so Saber de Casa continued to be the place where people not only ate but also connected, felt welcomed, and above all felt part of something bigger. And Hugo, who had once been a billionaire obsessed with growth, now smiled as he saw the success he had built, not through money, but through kindness and humanity. The true legacy was there, in simplicity, generosity, and love for people. If you like this touching story that reminds us of the importance of simple gestures in the true essence of humanity, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and inspire yourself to spread kindness and empathy wherever you go.